Hello class. Today we will take up welfare definition which was given by Alfred Marshall. Now this definition is an improvement over the wealth definition which was given by Adam Smith. In the wealth definition, we have already seen that he had given too much emphasis on the study of wealth and had given the study of man a secondary place. So to overcome that, this definition was given by Alfred Marshall. Alfred Marshall, in his book Principles of Economics, which was published in 1890, he stated that economics is study of mankind in the ordinary business of life. So he had laid emphasis that economics is on one side study of wealth, and on the other and more important side it is the study of mankind, humans. With ordinary business of life means how he earns and how he spends money. So he's basically talking about wealth. So he says it is the study of wealth on one side, and on the other side, it is the study of man. He gave the definition political economy or economics. Economics was initially called as political economy. It is the study of mankind in the ordinary business of life, and it examines that part of individual and social actions which is most closely connected with the attainment and with the use of material requisites of well being. Now, with this, he means that it studies only those activities of humans which are associated with the attainment of material welfare. Material welfare means the satisfaction, welfare, well being here means welfare. So, welfare means happiness that people get from the acquisition of material goods, the goods which can be seen, touched, and felt. He has kept services out of the purview of economics. Services of doctors, lawyers have been kept out of study of economics as per the definition given by Alfred Marshall. So, we will take up the features and criticisms of the definition. The first feature says that it is a study of mankind. He has balanced the importance of means and ends. He has, on one side, laid emphasis on wealth, which is a means to human welfare, and ends its human welfare. Means here means wealth, and the end result of this means should be human welfare. So he has brought a balance. He says that on one hand, economic studies wealth, and on the other and most important side, it is the study of humans. Then he says that talks about material welfare, which says that he studies those material resources which bring welfare to the people, which bring happiness to the people. According to him, it is a social science which studies the people in a society and who are normal and real. So it studies social, normal, and real people. People who live outside the society or who live in isolation, like a saint in the Himalayas or an insane person, these people, those who are abnormal, so these people are kept out of the study of economics. But this feature has been criticized. So, criticism we will see later on. He talks about ordinary business of life means how people attain and utilize the wealth. How do they earn wealth? And how do they utilize it to maximize their satisfaction? He has excluded the non economic activities. He has divided the human activities. Activity means anything that you do. So he has divided the human activities into two parts, economic and non economic. And he says that economics studies only the economic activities, means the activities which are associated with income earning and income spending. The non economic activities have been kept out of the purview of economics. So, on these features, not all the features, but on few features, the definition of economics by Marshall has been criticized. The first criticism against Marshall's definition is that he has regarded economics as a social science, which means that uh, economics studies the behavior of people who live in a society. People who are outside the society are kept out of the scope of study of economics. But here he is wrong to say, because there are so many economic principles which equally apply to the individuals, whether they live in the community, society, or they live in isolation. So, this is the first criticism. Secondly, the classification of activities as economic and non economic is very impractical, because the same activity may at one time be economic and at the other time it may be non economic. Like if a mother cooks food for the child, like cooking of food is a non economic activity when the mother cooks food for the child. And when the same mother is cooking food to send it as tiffin service, she's charging money for that. That becomes economic activity. So here the classification of activities into economic and non-economic is very, very impractical. Then he says the study of economics considers only those things which are material. Non-material things like services of doctors, teachers, lawyers, these have been kept out of the study of economics. But these services also bring welfare to the people. So it is not fair to keep this out of the scope of economics. He has restricted the scope of economics by taking only the material things and keeping the non material out of it. Moreover, it is unfair to relate economics with welfare, because there are so many things that we study under economics, though they do not bring welfare to the people, like liquor, war. We study the war economy during the wartime also, but wars do not bring welfare to people, it only brings destruction. But wars, the economy at the wartime is also studied. So it's very unfair to relate economics with welfare. And the concept of material welfare is very, very vague, because we cannot measure material welfare in numeric terms. You cannot measure it quantitatively, that I've got 10 kgs of satisfaction or 20 kgs of satisfaction. That's not possible. No, welfare is very, very subjective. A person who's very thirsty, if the person drinks water, he will get more satisfaction than a person who's not thirsty. So, the concept of welfare is very, very subjective. It varies from person to person, it varies from place to place, and it varies from time to time. Cold water may give you satisfaction if you are present in a place which is hot, but on the polar regions, the same cold water may not give you so much of satisfaction. So the concept of material welfare is very, very vague. It cannot be measured in quantity or quantitatively. So on these grounds, the definition given by Alfred Marshall has been criticized. An improvement over this definition was given by Robbins, who was the student of Alfred Marshall, and his definition is called as the scarcity definition. In the next video, we will take up the scarcity definition. Till then, stay safe and take care. Thank you.